What's up, Bitcoin heads? Just got a quick update video for you here. I'm gonna keep it real short today. I've made a few changes to my chart. I've highlighted the bull extension. That's this guy here in gray instead of green. I do believe that looks a little better. And down here we've got the bull or the bear extension. My chart is real clean and real simple, and it works really, really well. One thing I know for sure, I was in this last cycle and I watched a lot of YouTube channels, and there was just tons and tons of different indicators and information and ways to look at this. And it just became a giant confusing mess. So I would recommend that you draw in this chart. Now I'm on Femex on the Bitcoin USDT pairing up here in the left corner. You can see that. So this numbers will be different for different pairings and different exchanges, and this chart might not fit perfectly on anything else than where I'm at now, but in the macro sense, it's going to be the same everywhere. From my last video, for the people that usually watch my videos, I've deleted everything back to the left. There was another red channel here. It's not in play anymore. I call this my kaleidoscope system. It works very, very well. Now this is the daily chart, and you can't really see a lot of details. So let's quickly go down to the hourly. Now we've got a new not, I want to call it macro, but we've got a new semi macro pattern that's developed. I'm gonna put that in here in a second. But first, I just want to go back and show you on the hourly here where we're at. You can't see a whole lot on the daily. I mean, you can, but as far as detail. So let's zoom in here a little bit on the hourly. You can see it coming, busting out. There's the big breakout up to 72,000. It came back down. And interesting thing, in my last video, I was patting myself on the back on the daily chart. I think it was a daily chart. Anyways, this wick here appeared to have bounced directly off the top of the bull trap extension line, and it did not. Now on the daily, it looks like it, but on the hourly, I mean, it is. But I was giving myself major props for being like, talking about how amazing it was. But on the hourly chart now, where I've got drawn in properly, it's actually about $100, $120, $130 away. But that's still basically it, right? I can move that line a little bit if I wanted to. Okay, so this red ascending channel was in play back here, as you can see, and I left it there because I believed it would eventually come back into play. And I just want to show you, I said, you might want to draw this in, even if you're trading, even if you've got money on different exchanges and different places. You can go to Femex and you can make a chart like this. You don't have to have money involved. You don't have to do anything, but they'll let you, you can draw a chart, Bitcoin USDT, and look at this. I mean, just have a look. Would you have a look? It's a beautiful thing. It truly is. Turn my magnet off. Look at that. Boom. Right. First of all, it came down and tested the top of the red. Right. My last video, I think I left off through here, this area here, and I was saying I do believe it's going to come down to the red and test that. It actually hung up there for about a day and a half longer than I thought it would. But as I said, maybe it does come up a little bit, and it came up a little further than I thought. It came up to 70,735. Crashed right back down. Tested the top of the red line. Long story short, tested the top of the red line again. Tested it twice. Tested it once. Tested it twice on the hourly chart. Tested it 3 times. On about the 4th or 5th time, boom! It broke down, and look at that, right off the heart line. Right off the heart line. I do have to say, as I always say, that you should learn this yourself, because eventually you can just stop watching other channels, and that's kind of the whole thing about Bitcoin is it makes you independent, And now in the long run, I think Bitcoin could be a super bad thing for the world, but in the short term, in the near future, in the next decade, it's going to be pretty cool to watch. But I'll talk about this some other time. Bitcoin could just end up being a disaster. I mean, it's great. It's great. Yeah. Yeah. Right. But if you don't own Bitcoin, and Bitcoin were to gobble up the world's money markets, which it has a chance of doing. That, you know, if you don't own it, you're going to be a peasant, right? And that's a terrible, awful thing, right? So just keep that in mind. That's why I would suggest owning a little Bitcoin. Own Bitcoin out of fear, right? Okay, get that out the way. So there it is. Boom, off the blue dotted line. Call that the heart line. Boom, look at that. Boom, perfect off of it. Came back up. Boom, bounced off it. Boom, 3 times, bounced off of it. Bounced up to the red. Rejected, and then got up above it, and then oh no, and now it came back down in it, and currently it's sitting right on that red line. What's it going to do? I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. But what I can say is go to the daily chart here, and shout out to Crypto Zombie. Shout out to Crypto Zombie as he becomes a 1%er elitist person on the global scene, showing off his mansion. No offense. I watched Crypto Zombie last cycle, and actually I learned a lot of this TA stuff from him, and I'm not dogging him. He's done a wonderful job. And but you know, you can kind of see that happening, right? The Bitcoiners become the elitists, right? It's fun to watch when the Bitcoiners are the little guy fighting Goliath, but when the Bitcoiners turn into Goliath and everyone else is a peasant, that this starts to have a different look to it. So just keep that in mind, and that's like a decade away, 5 years, 10 years away. Keep that in mind. Daily chart. A shout out to Crypto Zombie. We've got a new pattern here. I did not see it, which is interesting. But here it is. Boom. Well, let's do it the other way. Let's do it from the top. Shout out to Crypto Zombie. I watched his video and he showed this. He's talking about calling this an uptrend, and he was saying it's a kind of a good thing. But I would say this is more of a bearish situation. Now he's highly talented, experienced guy, so I'm not dogging him, but this is where I learned. I learned a lot from Crypto Zombie 3 years ago or so, and he was around the cycle before me back in 2017, and he appears to be a wealthy individual at this point. But okay, there it is. Let's get this back down here a little bit, so we don't get carried away. Okay, so there it is, more pleasing to the eye. Okay, there it is. A few videos back, I talked about watch out for a big green parallel channel to form, something along these lines like this, right? Because that's a bullish pattern, and I was saying watch out for this to form, watch out for this guy to form, Schlinko. But it's actually the opposite, and that has me a bit worried that there could be a major dump coming. Now, I don't want to make videos to scare people and get views, although I do want views because I think this is good information I'm giving out. But that's that this is just factual. That's a giant red ascending bearish channel that has formed. It's macro, it's semi-macro, in the grand scheme of things. I don't know if I call it macro, but it's semi-macro. It's a big pattern. Let's see, 71.6 to 80,000. That's a 85, about $8,400 target on that to the downside. And it could break up as well. Zombie could be right. Now, let's see if I've got that. I don't got it marked in there. Shoot. But up here, I don't want to make this video too long. There's a Fibonacci level here on my chart at about 84,400, which would be a good target to look at to the upside. And maybe it does break up to there. But this is a little sketchy to me, in my opinion, from what I've seen watching. We're still a months away, right? I think I'm under the personal opinion that this has been the mid-cycle pump, and I personally had it confused with the halving pump. This is probably the mid-cycle pump, and it could still come down. And the true halving pump is probably out here. Boom, there it is. There it is out there somewhere later this summer, right? Now, I could be totally wrong about that. Maybe it happens tomorrow, but that's unlikely. The volume is low, so there could be massive green candles. There could also be massive red candles. I don't know for sure, but one thing I would say is if this spends a lot of time down here in the bottom half of this bigger red channel like this, that's going to start indicating that a dump is likely. Now maybe it only dumps down here to 60,000, or maybe the top here to 63,000, or maybe it doesn't even come down that far. But that's an ominous pattern to print right now at this point in time where it's at. Because I do not believe this is the true halving cycle pump. I don't think that's even started yet. So right, that's good news. But if you're in a big long and high leverage right now, that's bad news, because this could be coming down. And I said I wanted to make a quick video, but this should be decent support. Right, we've got that little red ascending channel. And interesting thing. I didn't mention that. Do you notice how that little red channel is perfectly parallel with the bigger red channel? See that? Look at that. Isn't that interesting? Now, I drew this little red channel in here back in the second week of May, right? And now here we are, May 30th. The next candle, a couple of days, we're in June, and just look at that. Just look at that. That's the kind of things that I notice, and I just simply think is fascinating. How is that possible? I'm not totally sure, but I would just go with Fibonacci and massive computer systems, right? And automated trading. Now I don't know if this stuff occurred that perfectly 100 years ago when the Japanese, created this charting style on the rice market. I don't know if it was this perfect, but look at that. That is a parallel line, right? A parallel line. Maybe it's slightly off just by like a fraction of a tenth of a degree, but to the human eye, that's pretty good, right? And so, anyways, long story short, before we start going down a rabbit trail, this should be decent support, right here. We've got the little red channel, we got the big red channel. So what I would say is watch for a possible bounce. Maybe it is just bounced off the heart line, and this is a bounce, and it's coming up here. If it comes back up here, you watch the blue heart line here. See that guy? That's a resistance area, and of course the top of the red channel is resistance. But let's put in. I should have had this. Let's put in a. This is the all-time high. All right, there's the all-time high. Let's make that guy white. Boom. Okay, that's the all-time high. So unlikely, in my opinion, for the top of this red channel to be tested again, because that would suggest an all-time high. But if there is an all-time high, then that might suggest this is the pump that goes up to here. It's the next, 84,000. That's in play. That is in play. But I think we're a little ways away from that. I still think there's time, weeks, if not months, for this to continue in the range that it's in now, and it could still come down further. Maybe it just comes sideways, but I just want to show you this. And if this red channel were to fail, 7,000, I just 7,500. When you measure these targets, what I'm doing is this the height, right? The height of this channel from right where I'm at here to the top. That's the potential target. Now, targets are rarely hit perfectly, but they're close, right? They're really they're excellent to see perspective. $500 target look like. Say if it broke down from here, 7,500 from, let's just call it 67, would be 59,500. That would be an 11% dump, and that would put us down here in this area. Watch the heart line here. That's a good support. Now, Any line on this chart is going to be good support. You got support here, the top of the macro green channel. We got the heart line of the bull trap extension. We got the top of the bull trap extension. And all these lines have been in play previously. I got my magnet on, so those lines are looking wonky. But you got what I'm saying. And I think that's about it. And I wanted to make a 3 or 4 minute video, and this is probably about 14, 15 minutes. So how about I stop yammering? And you got my point. Now Bitcoin could be sitting on a cliff. I don't want to confuse the subject because I know what social media can do to your mind. And I do want to warn you. I do want to warn you that volume is low, and if a selling event occurred, there's all kinds of things that could happen. I don't want to make this video longer, but rest assured, I promise you, this could come down. Boom! Right? And then maybe it does, boom! It could still come back down here like this, right? And then, August, September, boom, here's the real one, right? So just watch out for that. And anyways, you see what I'm doing there. Have a good day. I hope you appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe. All right, later.